Austin, my name is Randy White and I'm your local Austin realtor. Today's topic is all about Austin, Texas's local economic forecast for 2022. We have kicked off the year and gotten our spring season underway, and it's still pretty crazy. So we're going to talk about supply, demand, what's been going on the last few years and how that affects us today, and we'll also talk a little bit about the building process in Austin and what it's like to get some permits done. So without further ado, let's take a look at Austin's economic forecast.
I'm going down to Austin, Texas. I'm going down to save my soul.
Let's start off with talking about supply. We got huge inventory problems, and we've had inventory problems since 2020. From 2012 to 2019, Austin hovered around 2 to 3 months of inventory. And so for all you guys out there that don't do real estate every day, what that looks like for a buyer is we need to be competitive, probably submit at list or a little bit over. There might be somebody else offering at the same time, but you're gonna most likely get the house that you're looking at on your first or second try. Lately, it's more like we're gonna offer on a home 7, 8, 9, 10 plus times. Because ever since March 2020, our inventory has been under half a month's of supply. A balanced inventory is going to be 6 months of supply, so we haven't been there in a long time. But I would love to get back to 2 to 3 months of supply so that sellers are happy, they're getting the list price that they want, and buyers are happy because they actually get to offer on a house and probably get it. Now, we all know that coronavirus has a lot to do with the low inventory for resale homes. It discourages people from going to the market and having a lot of people come in and out of their home. People are concerned and have other things on their mind aside from selling their home at that point. And so that has just been a really big disruptor for the resale market. But for Austin in particular, there's another thing that causes our supply issue to be so dire, and it has to do with our builders and the new construction process. Director of Research at SMU, Mark Roberts, stated that the impact of COVID on the supply chain has been the worst in the last 100 years than any other event, and that includes both world wars. Did you know that it takes about twice as long to build a house than it did before COVID? And it's not just because of supply chain issues, but also because of labor issues. It is reported that builders and subcontractors are having to compete for workers. The average or median income in Austin can buy you a $340,000 house, but the median home price in Austin is $536,000. So somebody that's making that median salary has to go all the way out to Bastrop in order to find a place to live. Austin is not affordable for trade workers to pick up a job here. So new construction homes are just not turning out as fast as we need them to be, and that has a lot to do with the supply chain issue and also some labor shortage issue. Now we're going to add some heat to that situation with the fact that builders are ready to build. It was a very, very small year for them in 2020 when nobody knew what to do with themselves. And so now we're back, we're ready to build, we're ready to make some money. So they are aggressively bidding on tear-down homes, homes that can be flipped, or lots, empty lots inside of Central Austin. But who else is also bidding on those places is just the normal buyers out there that are ready to be in contract somewhere. So we have this dire inventory situation with aggressive demand just gobbling up anything that comes onto market, and it just creates chaos, which is what we're all experiencing. The last thing I want to talk about that interrupts or interferes with building in Austin is permitting. Now, there's a lot of good reasons out there as to why Austin is so strict and expensive for their permits, and I support a lot of it. But at the same time, we're a growing city, and we need some houses. So there's a balance in there somewhere of how to negotiate an updated code that's been in court since 2012. Let's talk about some details of what can hold up a builder a little bit in Austin. Did you know that it costs about 10% of a home's price just in permitting fees? Habitat for Humanity, for example, can't build inside of the Austin city limits. It's too expensive. The timing of it is also pretty lengthy. It takes about 4 months to get a building permit, or it can also take 2 years to get a site plan and subdivide a lot. Let's compare that to Houston, where it takes about 30 days. Now, do I think that we should wipe away everything that we know and love about Austin and just do what Houston does? No. Houston is full of concrete and has a lot of flooding issues, so there's a lot to be said for that way to do things as well. What I do think is that the code was written in 1984, and it's time for an update. Actually, the most amount of permits ever issued was done in 1983, and then we changed the code and made it pretty difficult to get permits, and it hasn't ever caught up since. In 2019, though, we did actually get a lot of permits done and beat that record in 1983. What I do think we should do is continue to try to find negotiations between what we love about Austin and how to make sure it stays green and beautiful, but also to increase some density and release a little bit of this pressure that we seem to have in our real estate market. The land code changes have been held up in court since 2012, and hopefully we'll come to an agreement soon of how to make sure that we can keep Austin beautiful while also keeping it affordable. So what's the upshot here on the supply and inventory problems for Austin? 1, there's a supply chain issue on materials, as is for the rest of the world. 2, we've got a labor force shortage because the tradesmen workers can't afford to live here. And 3, an outdated permitting process that's really not keeping up with the very intense demand coming into Austin. This is a triple bottleneck, people. Now we're going to take a look at the other side of things that can help determine what the Austin forecast will be for this year. And we're going to take a look at demand. So, newsflash, people are moving to Austin. Specifically, they're coming from California, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, and Minnesota. These people are coming from cities that have the highest cost of living and are realizing after COVID, hey, I can work anywhere and I can move anywhere that I want, and I can have lower taxes, no income tax, a lower sales tax, just a lower cost of living in general. Well, I'm gonna do it. So that's one reason that we have such extreme demand coming into Austin, and in fact that's for the entire state of Texas, and Florida is experiencing that situation. Another string of demand that seems to really nosedive right into Austin is that we just have really low unemployment. At the peak of the pandemic, we were at 12.2%, and we're already back to 4% for unemployment. So we're basically right back to where we were pre-pandemic. And in fact, in September 2021, Austin ranked as the third city with the lowest unemployment rate. So people are just doing good here, and the news is out about that. Something else going on for Austin is going to be all of the giant company announcements. Austin has had an incredible recovery after the pandemic, and people are noticing. I'm talking about Tesla's $1.1 billion factory that they're putting in. I'm also talking about Samsung's $17 billion semiconductor factory out in Taylor, and there's even possibly an announcement coming out for Micron Computers in putting in a $45 billion investment into the city. It hasn't been officially announced yet, but the discussion is out there. And this is just a few of many announcements that happened this past year. One category where jobs are really flourishing is business and professional services. We are adding about 5,000 to 10,000 jobs per year. And in 2021, that was almost double the average that we had previously. And these are some really high-paying jobs. Meta, the parent company of Facebook, leased 589,000 square feet, which is just the entire building, on West 6th in Guadalupe. And then Amazon went ahead and leased the whole entire building right next to them that they're already at in the domain at a total of 332,000 square feet. These companies are busy and they're getting to work right here in Austin. So what's the upshot here on demand? We have outside forces causing people to completely rethink how they're going to work and live, and it drives them right to our town. Additionally, we have internal reasons inside of the city of Austin with our booming economy and our very low unemployment rate that is allowing people to be making money here in Austin, Texas. And they want to go out and they want to buy a home. It's hard to get a home and it's expensive. And so what it's actually done is caused the leasing market to also be competitive because people are filling up into rentals while they continue their exhaustive home search. So now we're at 95% lease occupancy when previously we were just at 93%. These people are in these rental homes, but they don't want to be there. They want to be in a home. So to sort of wrap up this video, Let's talk about what does the future hold for supply and demand in Austin. On the supply side of things, it's probably just not going to change that much this year. The solutions are rather unclear. We need the supply chain and labor shortage issues to really come to a close, and we just don't know how long it's going to take for that to shake out for ourselves and for the entire country and the entire world for that matter. And permitting, those issues, they're certainly not helping either, and I don't really see a solution coming in sight for those. We need for it to be not as expensive and not as time-consuming to get building underway in Austin. The discussions to help expand and open up that problem are stuck in courts, unfortunately, since 2012. I'm not calling for a complete overhaul in Austin's land code, but I am calling for a very important update to accommodate the amount of people that have come here in the past 10 years. And unfortunately, I just don't have an answer of when that's going to be resolved at this time. Because of those current land code issues, Austin really is not a very dense city, so it's extremely limited inventory for resale homes inside of the city. Combine that with the constrictions that new construction is having with supply chain issues and labor and everything that we just discussed, this demand, this intense demand in Austin is starting to really spill over into the surrounding communities, and that's driving those prices up to, in some cases, match what the price of an inner-city Austin home even costs. So what does the future hold for demand? It's kind of similar to supply. I just don't really see the demand cooling off anywhere in the near-time future. The reason that people are moving to Austin from those higher cost of living cities is still valid. We are still cheaper than to live in New York City, San Francisco, Los Angeles. Job growth in the city of Austin and high-paying jobs are continuing to be announced, and the cities that we compete for jobs for are Atlanta, Nashville, Raleigh, and Charlotte, and Austin really blew past all of them. So I just don't really see in the near future those particular cities overtaking what Austin is providing at this time. Now, a question that a lot of my clients and viewers have is, will the rising interest rates have any impact on the extreme seller's market? And my answer is probably not. So in November 2020, the interest rates were as low as 2.6%. And then now in February of 2021, they went up to 3.9%. And the rising interest rates over the last 12 months had zero impact on our market. So do I feel that interest rates going up to 5% will actually make a dent in the situation that we have going on? I just don't think so. The low supply is so dire, and the intense demand is so large that truly my honest opinion is that this seller's market, this extreme seller's market, is here to stay this year. So if you're out there trying to buy a house and you're thinking, I'm gonna wait for things to cool off, I just don't see that situation happening this year. And in fact, I see prices rising another 20% again, just like they did last year. So if it's important to you to be a homeowner in Austin, Texas, I encourage you to consider doing it sooner rather than later. And as for all my sellers out there, it's a great season to put your market on the home. My name is Randi White, and I'm your local Austin realtor. If you wouldn't mind, go ahead and hit subscribe to my channel so you get notified each week whenever I release videos about the real estate market or about tooling around Austin. It is a total pleasure doing these videos for you guys, and I will see you next week. Thank you.
Well, I'm going down to Austin, Texas. I'm